Poverty is one of the major social problems the world is struggling to eradicate. Several developmental goals in the world have been founded on the need to end what is seen as an inhumane situation. A drive through some principal streets of Accra reveals the abject poverty people live in. Through the hustle and bustle for survival, hard concrete pavements have become comfortable beds for the destitute at night. A disturbing feature of the poverty situation in Ghana is the increasing gap between the poor and the rich. Despite the poverty levels, it is easy to sight more than 10 luxurious cars on any street in Accra. There has been a huge increase in private infrastructure. Many believe that a system exists that keeps the rich becoming richer and the poor growing poorer. A recent Oxfam report on income inequality in Ghana paints rather a dire situation. It revealed that a poor woman would need more than 1,000 years to make the same amount of money one of the richest men will make in just a month. Despite the inequality across all income brackets, there's always the will to move out of one's current status.
I want to be a big man, have money. It's everybody's dream that you make money in life. Yeah.
But as fate will have it, not everyone will be able to move out of the poverty bracket.
From the word go, the inequality gap exists at birth. Because once you are born into a rich family, you are rich. Once you are born into a poor family, you are poor from the beginning.
Perhaps the story of Martin Garvey, a factory hand at an electrical company, symbolizes the challenge of many struggling to escape the poverty bracket.
The life that I planned to be, or how I planned to be, it wasn't this way. Due to this money problem, no money issues. I decided to go and then I wanted to be a doctor. But, as soon as I finished my JHS, my parents, they said they don't have money to send me to school anymore. So my father, he asked me to go and learn job. And to learn job too is money. But he couldn't even do anything about it. So my mother too wasn't having anything to help me through. So I have to go and then be a garden boy. I have to run from home to be a garden boy at this regimental.
After giving up on a dream to be a medical doctor, Martin, now 37 years, had to work for a decade to get an increment of his salary from 70 Ghana cedis to 700 Ghana cedis despite being a supervisor. His situation affirms a position by Oxfam that 7 out of 10 jobs in Ghana are vulnerable, thus do not meet the decent work criteria. Just like many Ghanaian workers, Martin is forced to accept the conditions, though he thinks he deserves better.
To work there is very hard. The money wasn't good enough, but as we are in our country, there is nowhere to go. You can't say you stop this and go anywhere. Wherever you go is the same thing.
Martin believes he could have escaped what he describes as a humiliating situation of having to share a kiosk with his family if he had access to good education. Dr. Edusa Akodia holds the opinion that access to equitable education is necessary in bridging the gap between the poor and the rich.
You make education system so nice, so socially oriented to the extent that it is not the rich children who can go to school, but it is everybody, whether you are rich or poor, they can go to school. That is why I'm so happy about this free SHS thing.
This view is widely shared by many, as it is not rare to see an entire family sacrifice all resources at their disposal to get better education for their wards. Currently, Martin says he has lost all hope in making any meaningful thing out of his life, but is only working to secure a bright future for his offspring.
For now, I may say, I don't have any hope. I don't have a hope. What I know is to just do that one and then let my kids also continue.
But the prominence put on education in breaking this gap might be overrated. A report by ISER has revealed that only 10% of the youth who complete their national service after tertiary education get employed. Per the report, it will take a period of 10 years for half of a graduating batch to get stable employment. Though Benjamin Alpha is part of the privileged 10%, he tells of how the increasing cost of living is making life unbearable for persons entering the middle class.
I found a job, but the demand of my expenditure was way above what I was earning. All right, and I'm sure it is the same for everybody. So accommodation, for instance, and I had a peculiar situation in 2017 where I had to use almost everything I had worked for in the year just to secure an accommodation. All right, that was just one aspect of my life, accommodation.
The situation has a ripple effect, as service providers in the informal sector equally suffer from the income inequality problem. Comfort Seponu sells kinky, a very popular Ghanaian meal, to cater for her family of 7. She tells me how the lower earnings of her customers affect her sales.
Nkaditonu koswa nkame tumia ye bibia so e wo mu na abakakra e wo mu so no de me fise ye ejuma busumu juma nti to de bia na omu jipe de omu tumi to de sa e dube ye 15 na sikana sa omu kotokum na ejuma na bafom kakra.
Could the case be that persons who live on the minimum wage or a little above the minimum wage are just not going beyond their comfort zone and thinking of creating something for themselves? I've come to one of the showrooms of a promising Ghanaian business startup owner, Ghanaians Fashion, to find out whether or not these challenges are peculiar to persons who live a little beyond the minimum wage and on the minimum wage. Gideon Denzo, who is the CEO of Ghanaians Fashion, started this business while in school. Currently, he's able to produce 200 Ghanaian-made shoes and sell almost 70% monthly. But he speaks about how the non-implementation of the right laws weakens the efforts of young entrepreneurs to expand their businesses.
Rent is one major thing that collapses young businesses. All right. When I was trying to look out for this place, the least rent was like a minimum of 2 years. And as a young business, I was not coming up. Having to gather all monies that I've made and come and rent a place for 2 years was headache. But you realize that that was the least you could get on the market. And so rent costs, operational costs, and utilities really, if not well structured, all right, will collapse a business. And so it's had a toll on our businesses. But if a young business, you want to pay close to 15,000, I'm not saying maybe he has 15,000, but I'm just saying close to 15,000 just to rent a place, paying 2 years advance. Then how much capital do you have to even produce shoes? All right, 15,000 can produce a lot of shoes. So having to give you that lump sum at the beginning of my business, then I've collapsed the business before the beginning. That means you have to raise a lot of capital.
Despite deliberate policy interventions undertaken by successive governments to bridge the gap, economist Dr. Edusa Akodie is of the view that most of these interventions will be fruitless without a restructuring of the Ghanaian economy.
If we can go by this, the economic growth rate, ensuring that everybody participates in having education system that benefits all, and then improving the agriculture sector and the manufacturing sector such that whoever completes education can have decent job in these two sectors, because these two sectors can create more jobs than any other sector. Then I think we can do well with inequality and then poverty reduction.